Today, we are going to reveal one of the greatest mysteries to all mankind. And I'm not kidding, this isn't hyperbole. It's that big of a deal. We're also going to do something really special. Together, we're going to use our powers to read the minds of every single person who is watching and or listening.
Welcome, everybody, to the Happiness Playbook podcast. My name is Michael. I'm your new host. Thank you for all those who are patiently waiting in the sidelines for this long pause of us bringing this podcast back to life. We are bringing it back right now. And to anyone who's new, welcome. If this is your first time, this is a good time to join us because we are going on a brand new journey together, especially filmed with you guys. So this is wonderful.
I'm Lorraine Florence, and I have been hosting the podcast if you've listened to the older episodes. And this is Michael Anderson, who's going to be listening to the podcast. So that's why we've got this little passing the torch moment for your enjoyment and hopefully entertainment. So I had been hosting the podcast. We had a lot of episodes in the can, and we had started it over. It was important to do it when we couldn't meet in person during COVID, if you remember that. And then once everything got rolling again and we were meeting in person, I direct theater and things got busy. My dog got hit by a car, my computer crashed, my microphone went schizoid and I had to reprogram it. And I just didn't get back to the podcast for a while. And then felt like, well, here life is rolling along. But Michael has been involved working with me with the theater, and he's got a great eye and an interest in doing this sort of thing. So I thought, this is perfect. We're not only going to start at the podcast again, it's going to be bigger and better. We have film, and we have a wonderful sign.
Yes, we do. And it's not just that podcasting is a love for me, but it's also that play theory is, even greater of a love that I have. I've seen it change people's lives, so this is a really special moment, I think, for us, hopefully for you, that we can help you, especially in the world that we're in right now, which we'll talk about. But I think we need to get to our crystal ball.
Yes. All right, so let's do the incantation. So I think it has, I can't remember, something with the fingers?
Yeah, touching the face.
Okay. And I think we have to say words. I say one, then you say one.
Okay.
Go.
Get.
The.
Crystal.
Ball. Okay, we don't have a crystal ball, so we're just going to imagine one. It's coming, it's kind of fuzzy, but I'm getting are you getting a clear picture?
Yeah.
I am too.
It hurts a little bit, but yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay, there's a lot of you out there, but luckily you all have the exact same desire. Okay, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
You want to be happy.
Happy.
That's what it is. Every single person. Now, we can argue, we can discuss, we can, be all weird about how that happiness looks. But the bottom line is we all want to feel safe. We want to feel valued. We want to feel happy. So there. Hope that impressed you, because we did. We read your mind. Now, we're going to tell you one of the big secrets. So there is a formula and a method to achieve that happiness. And we can share that with you. And that's why we're putting in the time. That's why we're making this effort. That's why we are doing this podcast, because we want you to have that secret. And that's what the podcast is going to be about. Yeah.
And that method that we use, we call it a happiness practice, but the principles we call play theory. How do we want to do this? Do we want to go through...
Well, maybe we can
list them off
really quickly, because we want to. Every episode we're going to cover one of these more in depth, because we're going to take you. We're not just going to tell you what this is and then leave you. So every week, Michael's going to be talking, or he'll have somebody on that's talking with him. But we're going to be teaching these principles, so we can go into depth as we go. But just in general, these are tried and true principles. There's 4 of them. The first one is be present. And it's just as it sounds. And the second is?
Yeah, the second is let go and play. And that one is also kind of how it sounds. But it's kind of like what's holding us back from experiencing play or engaging in play.
Yeah, or me wearing this shirt.
Yeah, which actually I love, by the way. I did tell Lorraine today, I said, hey, I want you to show us who you are. I mean, she is the founder of play theory. And once again, is the reason why I'm here, why my life has been blessed so much. So I was like, I want you to show who you are. So cat shirt, I love it.
And I picked out the shirt and came without getting that text, so we're on the same mind. So we can read each other's minds too. It's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we have our own crystal balls just for each other. It's a little bit easier. It doesn't hurt as much.
Yep. Okay, then the third principle is accept and build. And that's a super powerful collaborative principle. And Michael and I are doing that a lot right now. We're modeling that for you in this. We're letting go and playing, and we're accepting and building. And our fourth principle is?
Look outward. And this principle is how we look at the world, how we look outside ourselves. And it's turning our heart to focus on others and how we can make others look good and start to validate them. And we can do that through the other play theory principles.
Yeah, and when we were developing these principles and identifying them, the fourth principle, sometimes it's described as the sum of the first three. Like if you're doing those first three, the natural fruit of that is that you are able to look outward. So it'll be great. You'll have a great time going through and learning more about these principles more in depth. And one thing about them is it's not just a one-time through. So I have a yoga practice, and I was traveling a lot last month. Yet another reason I haven't been back to the podcast. And I stopped for like 6 weeks, and guess what? When I went to touch my toes, they weren't as close as they were before I stopped doing it on a regular basis. And so you call it a yoga practice. Yoga is not something that, oh yeah, I did that. I'm done with that. I've done yoga. So you can say you've done a puzzle. But something that is core to your psyche or your body that's always changing, it's always being bombarded with additional stimuli and experiences, you're always trying to resort things. It's kind of like if you're doing a puzzle and they're always putting in new puzzle pieces. That would be very different. You'd never finish that puzzle. And so with play theory, because it's a psychological, I don't want to say experiment method, I don't know what the right word is, but you have to practice it, and that's what this podcast is going to help you do.
Yeah, we're here to give you tools to help you in your everyday life, everyday circumstances. Not just one thing, not just work, maybe also your family, maybe when you're taking your kids to the park and your 2-year-old is asking you to play a game, or 3-year-old is asking you to like, hey, come join me on the park, right? It's like, okay, let go and play, here we go, right? So we're trying to give you tools that help you in your life, generally speaking, but they bring positive outcomes. They bring happier outcomes. So that's what our goal is for you.
I'm going to put Michael on the spot.
Yeah.
So can you think of a scenario where play theory wouldn't apply?
Oh.
I got him.
Yeah. That was on the spot. I really can't think of a scenario where it does not apply.
Yeah. Because you, as a person, you're always, I guess if you're unconscious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if you're thinking, if you're talking, especially if you're with another person, it's so foundational and valuable for, I like to say, collaborative creation.
Yeah.
And whenever Michael and I are creating this podcast right now, if you're at the grocery store, you're creating an experience with the person who's in front of you in line. If you're driving on the freeway, you're creating the traffic flow. So anytime you're interacting with another person or your circumstances, there's creation involved. And these 4 principles will help you have the most positive outcome possible. So that doesn't mean that we might have a crystal ball, but we don't have a crystal wand. We can't, make your life perfect.
Yeah.
You're going to do things. My dog got into half a bag of dark chocolate the other night and almost died. I had to go to the vet and had to wait there. And then when I stood up, my foot had fallen asleep. So I fall down in front of all the other people at the emergency vet. But luckily, they're all stressed, so they're like, maybe I made them feel good because maybe they thought I was worse off than they were. I don't know.
So
but
let me ask you, how did you
home.
use play theory in that experience?
Well, I was able to. I have to rewind just a little bit because I'd gone downstairs before we knew the dog had eaten the chocolate, and there was an ice cream carton that had been chewed up on the floor, which I thought, the dog did that. But guess who left the ice cream carton out? It wasn't me, it was my husband. And I was thinking, good opportunity for a applicable consequence. I'll let him find it in the morning, and then he'll know that he should have put the ice cream carton away so the dog didn't get it. But then I thought, I should look outward. So I picked it up, and when I did, I noticed the chocolate chip bag wrapper on the ground. And if I hadn't, the vet said, because that way I knew I asked my husband how much should he eat. He ate enough that the vet said bring him in right away. And talking to the vet, he said if I'd put him in his crate, he would have been fine for 2 or 3 hours, and then he probably would have died. So
Wow.
I was so grateful that I had the habit of looking outward. And that doesn't mean in the morning I wasn't going to tell my husband that he'd left the ice cream carton out and that he shouldn't do that because the dog had chewed on it. But that's kind of an extreme example. But have you ever judged somebody or said something mean and then later found out, oh, they were just, they just found out something really bad and that's why they were acting that way? Or I don't know. I've just found it's way easier to look outward rather than find out later that I shouldn't have done that. I can trust that I did the right thing when I'm looking outward.
Yeah, in fact, as you were saying that, I was thinking back to the question you just asked me, which was, is there any situation that play theory is not applicable? And what happened is I'm going through a mind of all of the horrible experiences in life that could maybe be like, maybe this is my excuse not to practice play theory. But it's what is that is there for. It's to help us get through some of these really hard situations, right? I mean, I was thinking, oh, you could have also taken the moment to had it be a huge attack on your husband for doing this thing, right?
Yeah.
But, you together figured it out.
Yeah. Can I just interject? Because what Michael said made me think of one of our mottos is that happiness is a skill. It's not a circumstance.
Yeah.
So what you were just saying about all these terrible things that have happened, some people have the mistaken belief that, oh, bad things happen to me, therefore I can't be happy,
right.
or I don't get to be happy, or I shouldn't be happy. But there are people that I'm always amazed when I meet them. I had a friend who was born with a really severe birth defect. And Michelle Polinsky, if you're out there, if you ever hear this, bless you. And she had a lot of physical limitations, some disfigurement, and it limited some of her outcomes in life. And she was one of the happiest people I've ever met. And I've often met people who they're practicing these principles. They don't know they're practicing play theory, but they're practicing these principles and bringing, flexing those happiness skills despite their circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so much. And actually, I want to be vulnerable myself too, with an experience that I had, and even just had just a little bit ago. I also went to the ER this last week, but for myself.
So one of those weeks.
It's one of those weeks we're just going to various ERs, testing them out, seeing how they work. So it was really funny. The other night, we had just got done watching a movie, my wife and I, and it was really hot. So I was like, I'm going to go turn off the AC.
Did your foot fall asleep too, so you fell down?
No, I didn't fall down. I almost fell down because I don't do well with pain, so I get lightheaded and all this stuff.
Oh.
But anyway, so I was getting up to turn off the AC, and we had just moved our desk the day before. And so I'm getting up like this, let's get up, and boom, I hit my elbow on the desk. I hit it so hard that I thought I broke it because I was holding it, I was icing it, I could barely move it. I went to the ER, and I just thought, you know what? It's 1 a.m, right?
It was 1 a.m. for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? All these workers, they're having an experience right now where they're early in the morning. Maybe they don't want to be at work. So I just thought, you know what would make this more fun for me? I also would rather be in bed. What if I crack jokes and make this my comedy routine when we come in?
Man.
So I'm going in and, they're like, they're asking me questions like, do you feel safe at home? And I'm like, yes, I do, but I think my desk is out to get me. So we were having this good time. We were all laughing. I was laughing with all these nurses and doctors. And then the good news came that I didn't break my elbow. It was just a bruised bone. And I thought that at the end, I was like, my arm is starting to move. And then I was like, well, that was that, right? And I'm okay that I had that experience. I got to make sure I was taking care of myself and moving on. And then another experience was even just a little bit ago. We were recording, and I botched one of the play theory principles I was trying to explain. So I had to let go and play and move on. But now I feel like as I've been practicing play theory while we've been here, we're both kind of been out of this for a little while. It's been a really positive experience. I feel like I'm more present now. I feel like I'm more relaxed because I jumped in.
Can I just say too, in my life, because I've done this for a lot of years now, and I'm not perfect at it, it's like yoga. You have to do it every day, and there's still some in no ways a yoga expert. A funny story, once I was doing this pose, it's called the mermaid, and I've watched this video online, and I'm trying to do it, and
Is that like Little
you
Mermaid, like
you
over
put-
the rocker?
it
No,
ki-
that's
you kind of look like that. You've got your hand behind your head and your leg
Oh,
and your elbow. And anyway, I tried for a long time. And this one time, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just let go and play. I'm going to try it. And I could do it. And I just started screaming, McKay! My husband, he comes running in. He thinks something horrible is happening because I was just so excited that I could actually do this. So anyway, I really do recognize that consistent, or the value of consistent effort. Just keep trying. Maybe you're really bad at looking outward. Maybe you had narcissistic parents. It happens. I can relate in some ways. So, but you just keep trying, and it's like developing that muscle. It's gonna get better. And now I'm to the point where I can ask myself, oh, I'm not having a good experience right now. Okay, what principle am I not following? And I can pretty readily identify a principle that I'm not following. And that doesn't mean that I'm never in pain, or I'm never discouraged, or my heart is never sad. But there's always ways that I can feel buoyed up and strengthened when I apply these principles.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And with all of these things, once again, we were able to do all these things in all these experiences because we had a happiness practice.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the idea is, once again, we're not saying that we're bringing you perfection into your life. In fact, that's not the way that you want to look at life at all.
No.
But that as you practice these things, you'll be able to have more meaningful experiences in your life. You'll be able to adjust and change your experiences and the trajectory of them to help you have. And sometimes you'll just have a hard circumstance that you will use play theory to help you get through. I know that for me, in this last year, I experienced quite a bit of death in my family, and play theory helped me so much because it helped me to turn towards other people. That really helped me whenever I have a hard experience, hitting my elbow, or even as much as somebody dying in my family.
I remember you talking about your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
And you had that opportunity. You ended up having to take care of her quite a bit, or something. You want to talk about
Yeah,
that? And a different attitude. I think you could have had. It could have been a more negative thing.
Yeah. So we were really close by. We lived 2 blocks away from her, right at the end of her life. And we were wondering. We found this place. We're like, hey, Grandma's right there. This is wonderful. And she had 9 kids. They all agreed to give us her car so that we could drive her around. And she was really healthy. And we were like, why are we taking care of her? She could drive herself. And then it just came to it. She had a stroke, and she quickly left this life. But I was so blessed to have done that. She had so many grandkids, 9 kids, 30 to 40 grandkids, something like that. And
a lot of them were local. And I remember
Yeah.
you talking about how you never complained about it, but like, yeah, I don't know, we got asked to do more of the care. He did a lot of the lifting there.
Yeah.
And instead of being at all resentful or challenging that or questioning that, it
Yeah.
ended up being this really positive, beautiful thing because you had less time
Yeah.
with her than you thought.
Yeah. My darling wife was ready to help me as well. And so we spent a lot of time with her. We were taking her to church. We were taking her to appointments, or even just taking her to a family gathering and just talking for an hour while we drive. And I loved those days. I look back at them fondly. I don't look back at it as like, oh man, my grandma passed. I think of it as, I'm so blessed. All my other cousins didn't have that opportunity. So I was really blessed to have that. And
Yeah.
but once again, it was a look outward thing. I could have complained.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I have to do this. She's got 40 other grandkids.
Yeah.
But it was a pleasure. It
Yeah.
was a real pleasure. So that's a happiness practice.
Yeah. I think there's a saying that all frustration, or I think you could say unhappiness, comes from unmet expectations. And something that the play theory principles help you do is align your expectations in more reasonable ways, because like I said, we're always interacting with other people. If you get in the car and drive, you have an expectation you're going to go somewhere, but then, there's a lot of other cars here too. The traffic's slower than I thought, or heaven forbid you have somebody who's intoxicated or doing something wrong, and you always have to be adjusting for these different things that are coming into your expectation. I'm going here, I think it's going to be this, but it's never that straightforward. And so
Yeah.
it helps you be more flexible, and that's a super important component for long-term well-being and happiness, is having, you need to have grit, you need to have resilience, but you also need to be accommodating. You don't want to be a doormat. but it gives you that ability to adjust your mindset so that you don't feel this disappointment in an expectation that's been crushed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so that's how it can bless your personal life. We've seen it bless so many. We do these exercises every week, almost every day here at our building, and we've seen it change people's lives. So let it change yours. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about today, which is on this podcast, we will also talk about world events, things that happen in the world, because there is our personal life, but then what's that external factor, right? We also have all these world influences coming in, a lot of them trying to attack us. But especially, and I think this kind of moved us in haste a little bit to get our podcast out today, but we had recent events, even an assassination that happened recently. And, of course, we're not a political channel or anything like that, but we just saw it as wow, we would really like to reach out to the world to give better practices in life.
Yeah, more skills in order to have that positive collaboration. And we're all in this together. And we have found something here that we use in the theater program that we are both invested in. And we see it change lives here. In the past, I've heard from lots of people from previous episodes how they've applied it in their lives. And even if the other people in their home or family aren't really using them, it's made a difference. And so we are really committed to try to change the world for the better. We're just going to throw it down. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about world events. Once again, probably not through the political eyes. We'd like to talk about it through our paradigm, which is play theory, and just bring that like, how would the situation be different if maybe crowds reacted in this certain way or whatnot? I'm not specifically talking about the recent event, but I'm just saying that every world event can be looked at through a more positive paradigm that can help us to navigate our own lives, right? How do we manage the things that are constantly bombarding us in our life? And sometimes we will say that the answer is just, you need to take a break.
Yeah.
You need to take a break from all of the sensory. It's like you can't live your life with constantly having a flashlight in your face. And so you can't live your life with constantly having the world like filling all of your senses. And that's part of being present, right? Being in the moment, being in your community, and trying to make the world a better place, starting with each individual person.
Yeah, and I think that being present, that is a skill that is being lost in our culture. We're so much on our phones, we're always wanting to be distracted, or we're buffering, and it's really hard to be where we're at in the moment. And that is like meditation, that's an opportunity to practice that. So just talking a little bit about the podcast going forward, Michael's going to take each of these principles and give you some feedback, or not feedback, but maybe some stories, or explain it in a little more depth, some examples. And then there's going to be a challenge every week. We're going to invite you to do something and practice that. And it'd be wonderful if you got some feedback too, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's probably going to be things that we put out there to try and gain feedback. We might even ask for some stories from your own life that we can talk about.
We did that in the past. When I would get stories, I'd love to share those. And we would love to make this a community where this is a place you can tune in and say, this is my practice, these are my people, I want to be in this with everyone.
Yeah. In fact, I did get a story this week, if I can share.
Let's do it.
This is actually from Jerem Cookson. He was one
Love
of
you,
our...
Jerem.
Yeah, Jerem's wonderful. He went through our program, really awesome guy. He's out serving the Lord down in, is it in Brazil, I believe?
He's in Bolivia.
Bolivia, that's where it is, one of the B's.
Yep.
And he's having a grand old time, but he told me a story this week about how he was doing some kind of game or competition with some locals there, and he lost the competition, so the consequence was that he had to do the duck dance. That's all he knew that they said was duck dance. So they could have said something else, because he's still learning the language down there.
Maybe they didn't say duck dance, but that's what he thought they said. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe that's what So he does the duck dance.
Yeah.
And he said, I didn't know what I was doing. That's what I thought it was. So I did the best duck dance I possibly could. And he said the village people loved it. They were not expecting it. So he's starting to think I didn't understand what they were saying. But he said, because I let go and play, I had a good time and I blessed someone else's life. So that was his experience. He literally said those words. It was awesome.
And he had a positive experience.
Yeah.
And they had a positive experience versus he could have felt really uncomfortable or awkward. And then if you're around someone who feels uncomfortable and awkward, you feel uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yikes.
And it's kind of a nice little topic there because Jerem's down there serving. And when you're practicing play theory around other people, you are serving. It's such a beautiful, profound way to serve. I mean, we always think of service as like raking leaves or washing someone's windows or cooking them a meal. But have you ever walked away from someone and felt better? They served you. And you can make everybody you interact with feel better when you're following these principles. So it's really a beautiful opportunity.
It is so beautiful. Is there anything else that we need to touch on today?
No, I think just look forward to the next episode. They're coming out once a week, you think?
Yep, coming out once a week. We're just getting started. We have plenty that's coming to you. I'm so excited to bring this to you. I'm not going to plug all of our social media stuff right at this first episode because we're still dialing that in. I will say, no longer visit playtheory.org. We don't have that anymore. It kind of looks like it's us, but it's not. It's kind of in limbo there. But the new website is practicehappiness.org.
Which is a better one, because that's what we're doing. We are practicing happiness.
Yeah, we are practicing happiness.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Once again, my name is Michael Anderson. I'm the new host. And thank you, Larry, for starting all of this, for doing this, for carrying the torch for so many years. We're going to continue to bless lives here. We're going to carry on what you wanted.
Wait, let's look into the future and see if that's true.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it didn't even hurt. It didn't hurt so bad. So
I think we are.
Yeah, very good. So thank you, everybody,
Thank you,
and hope you have a wonderful week.